Ethan had never traveled beyond the solar system before, but the chance to explore the interstellar marketplace was too tempting to refuse. The vast spaceport, suspended like a jewel in the orbit of a distant planet, buzzed with life. Alien species of every imaginable shape and color moved along the translucent walkways, their voices a blend of strange harmonics, clicks and tones that Ethan could barely understand. Hovering ships glided silently above, their sleek hulls reflecting the light of distant suns, while traders called out offers in languages Ethan didn't know, hoping someone would understand their pitch. Despite the chaos, Ethan felt at ease. He had spent years preparing for this journey, studying alien cultures, learning basic survival skills, and understanding the rules of interstellar trade, but nothing in his textbooks could have prepared him for the sheer magnitude of the market, a place where wealth, power, and freedom were often displayed as openly as the merchandise itself. Some stalls showcased rare gems that glowed with inner light. Others offered machines that seemed alive, shifting and changing shape at a thought. But the most captivating displays were those that held living beings. Warriors and performers kept under strict watch, prized for their skills or rarity. Ethan moved cautiously along a corridor lined with transparent cages. Each one contained a different creature, some small and delicate, others towering and muscular. His eyes widened as he passed a cage containing a blue-skinned telepath, its eyes reflecting both intelligence and sadness. He kept walking, trying to remind himself that he was here to observe, not to buy. At least that was what he had planned. Then he saw her, Kaylara. She stood over 7 feet tall, her frame sculpted like a living statue of strength. Every muscle in her body was defined, rippling under the tight armor she wore. Yet her movements suggested an elegance that contradicted her bulk. Her hair was black as obsidian, falling straight to her shoulders, framing a face that was both beautiful and fierce. But it was her eyes that caught Ethan's attention. The deep amber orbs burned with defiance, a silent message that she would not bow or submit to anyone easily. She was chained. Thick metallic bands wrapped around her wrists and ankles, restraining her to a reinforced platform at the center of a large open stall. Around her, alien merchants and a few would-be buyers watched, assessing her as though she were an object, a weapon to be owned rather than a being with her own mind and purpose. The whispers in the crowd spoke of her reputation. Kaylara was known across several star systems as a warrior unmatched in combat, a champion whose victories in arena battles had become legendary. Owning her or controlling her was said to be a privilege reserved for the wealthiest and the most powerful. Ethan's stomach tightened. There was something unfair, something wrong, about the way she was displayed like merchandise. And yet he couldn't look away. There was a magnetic force in her presence, a sense of honor and fire that seemed almost tangible. He felt a stirring deep within himself, a mix of admiration, curiosity, and a strange sense of destiny. The merchant overseeing her display noticed Ethan's gaze. A tall, thin alien with multiple arms approached, speaking in rapid clicks that were subtitled in Ethan's visor. "Interested, human? She is the finest warrior you can find. Strong, skilled, and obedient. With the proper guidance," the merchant said, his tone smooth and practiced. "All it takes is a purchase and she will be yours. She obeys those who own her. Price is high but worth every credit." Ethan hesitated. He knew enough about alien cultures to sense the implication behind "obeys those who own her." Kaylara was not a servant or a simple fighter. She was a mind and spirit trapped in chains. The merchant, sensing Ethan's hesitation, leaned closer, offering a whisper meant to entice. "Others have tried to buy her before. Few could manage her strength. Many failed. Perhaps you are different." Kaylara's eyes met Ethan's across the crowded stall. For a brief moment it was as if she was reading his thoughts, weighing him, questioning his intent. Then she looked away, her jaw tight, refusing to give him more than a flicker of acknowledgement. Ethan swallowed. He could not turn away. Something about this warrior, about the injustice of her situation, called to him. He stepped forward and spoke, his voice steady despite the tension in his chest. "How much?" The merchant's multiple arms gestured dramatically, counting credits with precise movements. 2 million galactic credits, non-negotiable. Few humans could even gather such a sum. Ethan nodded, pretending to consider the figure, even as his mind raced. He had been cautious with his resources, investing in rare technologies and trade goods for this journey, and yet he could not walk away. "I'll take her," he said finally. The words felt heavy as they left his mouth. The merchant's eyes widened and Kalara's gaze snapped back to Ethan's. There was disbelief, almost outrage in her expression. You intend to buy me?" she asked in a voice that was low, strong and unwavering. Even chained, her presence filled the space around her. "Yes," Ethan replied, keeping his tone calm. "But not to own you. I want you free." For a moment, silence hung in the air. The surrounding crowd of aliens murmured among themselves, curious at the unusual turn of events. Most humans, when faced with the opportunity to purchase Kalara, sought control or glory. Ethan's words were different. There was no pride in conquest, no desire for domination, just a simple promise to grant freedom to a being of unmatched talent and spirit. Kalara's amber eyes narrowed. She studied him, searching for a hidden motive. "Many say that," she said finally. "Few act on it. Why should I trust you?" Ethan stepped closer, careful not to violate the chains that still restrained her. "Because I've seen what you are," he said simply. "Not just your skill in battle, but your strength, your honor. You deserve to choose your own path, Kalara. I want to help you do that." There was a pause, and for the first time Ethan noticed a flicker of something softer in her expression. Curiosity. Perhaps even hope. The merchant, clearly uncomfortable, interjected. "Do not be foolish, human. Owning her is not about freedom. It is about control. If you purchase her, she will obey you or you will regret it." Ethan's gaze did not waver. "I am not here to control. I am here to change her destiny. And if she refuses me, then so be it." Kalara's eyes widened slightly and a tension passed between them that was almost tangible. Then, slowly, she tilted her head, a silent acknowledgement of his intent. The transaction was completed with a series of mechanical gestures, credits transferring instantly through secure channels. Ethan received a biometric key that would unlock the chains, a symbol of the trust he was pledging and the responsibility he was accepting. When he stepped forward and pressed the release button, the chains fell with a soft clank. Kalara flexed her wrists and ankles, testing the freedom that had been so long denied. Her movements were fluid, natural, and powerful. She looked at Ethan with a mixture of surprise and scrutiny, her body poised for action even in this moment of relief. "You've done it," she said softly, her voice carrying a note of disbelief. "You've freed me. But why?" Ethan smiled faintly, the weight of the moment settling on him. "Because no one should be bought and sold for who they are," he said. "Because I believe that freedom is stronger than fear." Kalara studied him for a long moment, then nodded once sharply. Perhaps we will see if your belief is strong enough." Their first step into a wider galaxy together was not smooth. Almost immediately, a group of enforcers loyal to the merchant began to chase them, angered at the loss of their prized warrior. But Kalara, now unbound, moved with terrifying speed and precision, turning the narrow corridors of the marketplace into a deadly dance. Ethan stayed close, guiding her with knowledge of the terrain, helping her avoid traps and ambushes while observing how she adapted to his strategies. They escaped the immediate danger, emerging into a quiet docking bay filled with ships of all sizes. For the first time, Kalara could breathe without restraint, her gaze taking in the stars with a mixture of awe and calculation. Ethan watched her, realizing that her strength was not only in her body but in her mind, sharp, analytical, and unyielding. "I am Kalara," she said finally, the name carrying authority. "You are Ethan, the human who bought me. Do not think this makes us equals yet. You have only begun to understand what you are dealing with." Ethan nodded. "I know, and I want to learn. But more than that, I want to help you shape your future, Kalara. Together, we can face what comes next." For a long moment they stood silently, the hum of the spaceport fading into the background. The galaxy stretched out before them, full of danger, opportunity, and adventure. Neither knew exactly what awaited, but one thing was certain. The encounter that began in a marketplace had changed both their destinies forever, and as they stepped toward the waiting ship, ready to leave the market behind, Ethan could feel a spark of something extraordinary. An alliance forged not through chains or ownership, but through trust, courage, and the promise of freedom. The journey had begun. The ship's engines hummed softly as it lifted off from the bustling marketplace orbiting the distant planet. Outside the transparent dome, the stars stretched endlessly, bright points of light against the black void. Kylara stood silently, her massive frame tense as if she were ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. Even now, free from her chains, her posture radiated strength and discipline. Ethan sat across from her, careful not to intrude, studying her in quiet curiosity. "We need to find somewhere safe," he said finally. "Somewhere we can talk and you can decide what you want to do next." Kalara's amber eyes flicked toward him, sharp and analytical. "You think I need advice from a human?" she asked, her tone dry but not hostile. "I don't know what you need," Ethan replied honestly, "but I know you're not someone who can be chained or controlled. I want to make sure you're not running straight into danger." She studied him, her gaze piercing. After a long pause, she inclined her head. "Perhaps you are not entirely foolish," she said. "For now, we will see how your human mind holds up. You may yet be useful." Ethan allowed himself a small smile. It was the closest thing to trust he had earned so far. He had learned quickly that Kaelara was not someone who gave respect lightly. Her world had been one of combat and survival, where every ally had to prove their worth. The ship moved through the outer lanes of the galaxy, skirting patrol routes and asteroid belts to avoid attention. Ethan had chosen a smaller, agile craft, capable of hiding among debris and moving quickly if necessary. Kaelara examined it with interest, her warrior instincts analyzing every detail. She ran her fingers along the control panels, her movements fluid and confident, yet careful not to touch anything without permission. "You have never piloted a ship like this before, have you?" Ethan asked. "I have handled larger vessels," Kaelara replied. "Ships designed for battle and transport of troops. But this is different. More delicate, more human," Ethan chuckled. "I guess that's fair. But it suits us for now. Quiet, fast, and flexible." For a while, they sailed through space in silence. Kaelara was not one to make small talk, and Ethan respected that. He had learned early in his travels that silence could be just as revealing as words. As he monitored the ship's instruments, he noticed the muscles along her arms flex subtly, her eyes scanning sensors and gauges with the precision of someone trained to survive under pressure. Finally, Kaelara spoke. "Why did you really buy me, Ethan? Most humans would have seen this as an opportunity for fame, power, or wealth. You did not." Ethan considered his words carefully. "I've seen too much suffering to think like that. You're not a weapon to be owned. You're you, and you deserve to make your own choices." Kaelara's eyes softened slightly, though the flicker was brief. "You speak boldly for a human," she said. "Do you not fear what might happen if you are wrong?" "I always consider the risks," Ethan replied. "But sometimes doing the right thing is worth the danger." Kaelara regarded him silently for several moments, then leaned back, a gesture that suggested both contemplation and subtle trust. It was rare for her to show vulnerability even to herself, yet here in the quiet of the ship, she allowed herself to consider that perhaps this human was different. Perhaps he could see her as more than a fighter, more than a weapon. The first test as they traveled, Ethan suggested a simple exercise to help them understand each other better. "I want to see what you can do," he said. "Not in combat, not in the arena, but in strategy. I have some training simulations aboard. Nothing harmful, just practice." Kaelara raised an eyebrow. "Practice with a human? You presume I am impressed by your games?" "Not impressed," Ethan said quickly. "I want to see how we can work together. If you and I are going to survive what comes next, we need to understand each other's strengths and weaknesses." Kaelara paused, then slowly nodded. "Very well. Show me this game of yours." The simulation room was small but advanced. Holographic panels projected a 3D battlefield, complete with enemy drones and terrain features. Ethan activated the simulation, and the scene shifted to a complex maze with multiple threats approaching from different directions. Kaelara stepped forward, her body instinctively ready for action. "What is the objective?" she asked. "To survive," Ethan replied, "and to achieve the mission objectives without unnecessary damage. You may use your combat skills, but strategy and foresight matter more than brute force here." The simulation began. Drones appeared from hidden corridors, sensors lit up, and the holographic terrain shifted subtly. Kaelara moved with lightning speed, her awareness of spatial relationships, timing, and attack angles astonishing Ethan. Even in a controlled simulation, her instincts were flawless. "You're incredible," Ethan admitted, watching as she adapted to unexpected changes, combining precision strikes with tactical positioning. He realized quickly that her training had not been limited to physical combat. It extended to anticipating enemies, exploiting weaknesses, and making rapid decisions under pressure. Kailara paused after several waves of drones had been neutralized. "You may think you teach me something," she said, her tone almost playful, "but I am learning just as much about you. Your strategies, they are clever, but you rely too much on reaction rather than anticipation." Ethan grinned. "Fair enough. I'll take that as a compliment." For the first time, they laughed together, a rare sound in the vast emptiness of space. It was a moment of connection, a bridge forming between two very different beings who had chosen to trust each other. A dangerous encounter. Their journey took a sudden turn when Ethan's sensors detected an approaching vessel. It was not registered in any of the databases he had checked, and its movement suggested predatory intent. Kailara stepped forward immediately, her stance alert, her mind racing through combat scenarios. "They're following us," she said. "Not interested in trade, not interested in negotiation. They want to fight." Ethan nodded, his fingers flying over the controls. "We can't outrun them forever. We need to prepare. Can you fight in zero gravity?" Kailara's lips curved slightly into a confident smile. "I have fought in far worse conditions than this. Your ship is small, confined. Advantageous to me if you know what to do." As the enemy ship approached, its weapons charging, Kailara and Ethan worked together seamlessly. She took position near the defensive systems, her hands moving with precision, guiding the ship's automated turrets toward weak points in the attacking vessel. Ethan coordinated maneuvers, drawing on his knowledge of the ship's capabilities while Kailara's instincts dictated their timing and angle of attack. The fight was intense but brief. Kailara's skill and Ethan's strategy created a perfect synergy. The enemy ship, unable to breach their defenses, withdrew into the dark void of space, leaving a trail of sparks and debris. Kailara's amber eyes met Ethan's. "You are competent in battle," she said simply, "and you are beyond anything I expected," Ethan replied, shared understanding. After the encounter, they retreated to the quiet of the observation deck. Kailara leaned against the transparent wall, staring at the stars. "I have faced countless opponents," she said softly, "but none like you. You are unpredictable. Not weak, not foolish, but strange." "Why do you help me?" Ethan took a deep breath. "Because I can see what others ignore. You're not a tool, not a trophy. You're someone who deserves to live on your own terms. I think the galaxy could use more people like you, and maybe, just maybe, I can learn from you too." Kailara studied him for a long moment. "Perhaps we will see if your belief is enough," she said. Her tone was still cautious, but there was a hint of respect in it now. Ethan nodded. "We will face challenges, Kailara. Many. But I believe we can handle them together." For the first time, Kailara allowed herself to consider that maybe this human could be more than an ally. Maybe he could help her unlock the potential she had not yet realized, the ability to shape her destiny beyond the battles she had always known. And as the stars stretched endlessly before them, both felt a quiet understanding. Their journey was only beginning, and together, they could face anything the galaxy might throw at them. The ship sailed silently through a stretch of space littered with asteroids, distant suns casting pale light across jagged rocks that floated in the void. For hours, Ethan and Kailara had maintained a careful course, moving away from the marketplace and the danger they had narrowly escaped. Yet, the freedom Kailara now enjoyed was fragile. Danger could appear anywhere, and the galaxy had a way of reminding travelers that even the strongest warriors were not invincible. Kailara stood at the observation deck, arms crossed, her gaze fixed on the endless stars. Ethan watched her from behind, noting the subtle tension in her muscles. "You're quiet today," he said gently. "I am considering our path," Kailara replied. "You may have freed me, but I must still prepare for what comes next. Many will come seeking me. Those who once owned me, those who fear me, those who desire me as a weapon, they will not stop." Ethan nodded, understanding the unspoken truth. The galaxy was vast, but word traveled fast. A warrior of Kailara's caliber could not remain hidden for long. "Then we need a plan," he said. "Somewhere to train, somewhere safe where you can adapt to your new freedom, and where we can face whatever challenges arise." Kailara's amber eyes glinted with approval. "You are wise, human. Not many would consider training over running." Ethan smiled faintly. "I've learned the hard way. Survival isn't just about speed, it's about preparation and strategy. The training arena, after consulting star maps and trading information with trusted contacts, Ethan set a course for a distant system rumored to host an ancient training arena. The facility was legendary, a massive station floating in the orbit of a barren planet designed to test the skills of warriors from across galaxies. Its reputation was both feared and respected. Many had entered seeking glory, but few had truly mastered its trials. When they arrived, the arena towered before them, a complex structure of reinforced metals and energy shields. Hollow doors opened automatically as they approached, scanning and analyzing their presence. Kalara's eyes widened slightly, her warrior instincts alerting her to the potential challenges within. "This place," she whispered, awe and anticipation in her voice. "It is designed to break warriors, to test every skill they possess." "And we're going to see how strong you are," Ethan said, his tone steady. "Not to break you, but to help you grow. You'll face challenges here, yes, but with preparation, strategy, and skill, you can overcome anything." Kalara considered him carefully. "You are human," she said finally. "You are fragile compared to many warriors, yet you speak as though you can guide me. Why should I trust you to understand what I need?" Ethan leaned forward slightly. "Because I've seen what others do not. I see your mind, not just your strength. And strength without purpose can lead to ruin. I want to help you reach your full potential, Kalara. Not to control you, but to stand with you." She remained silent for a long moment, then inclined her head. "Very well. We shall see if your words hold truth. First trials. The first challenge of the arena was simple in appearance but complex in execution. Holographic projections of hostile combatants filled the training floor, moving unpredictably, adapting to Kalara's actions in real time. Ethan watched as she assessed the situation, her movements precise, her attacks both elegant and deadly. She did not rely on brute strength alone. She anticipated, dodged, and struck with calculated force. Ethan guided the simulations, introducing unexpected variables, a shifting floor, ambush points, and environmental hazards. Kalara adapted quickly, blending her instincts with the strategies Ethan suggested. He marveled at her ability to process information at incredible speed, her mind and body working in perfect harmony. "You are remarkable," Ethan said as the last wave of holograms dissolved. "Your instincts, your skill, it's beyond anything I've imagined." Kalara's expression softened briefly, a rare flicker of pride crossing her face. "I have been trained to survive, to dominate. But you challenge me in ways I did not expect. You are more than just a human. Perhaps you can indeed be useful," Ethan smiled. "I'll take that as a compliment." The training continued for days. Kalara learned to combine her combat skills with advanced technology, using the ship's systems, energy shields, and environmental controls to enhance her abilities. She began to see how her strength could be more than physical. It could be tactical, strategic, even psychological. And through it all, Ethan learned from her. He saw the galaxy through her eyes, understanding the intricacies of alien combat, culture, and honor in ways he never could have imagined alone. The rival word of Kalara's freedom did not stay hidden. A group of rival warriors, jealous of her reputation and fearful of her independence, arrived at the arena. Among them was Terran, a hulking warrior from a neighboring system, known for his brutality and skill. He saw Kalara's presence as a challenge to his own status and reputation. "You are free," Terran sneered, his voice booming through the arena. "But freedom is meaningless without strength to protect it. Let us see if you are worthy, Amazon." Kalara's amber eyes met his. "I do not seek validation from brutes," she said calmly. "But if you wish to challenge me, know that I will not hold back." Ethan stepped beside her. "You don't have to fight alone," he said. "We face this together. Use what you've learned and trust yourself." The battle was swift and intense. Terran's strength was immense, but Kalara's speed and precision gave her the advantage. She moved like water, fluid and unstoppable, exploiting weaknesses in his attacks and countering with efficiency. Ethan coordinated defensive strategies, guiding Kalara through the arena's features, showing her how to use the environment to her advantage. The fight ended decisively, Terran retreating with bruises and humiliation, and Kalara standing tall, her confidence bolstered by the victory. She glanced at Ethan, a flicker of respect evident. "You are indeed a capable ally," she admitted. "And you are stronger than I ever imagined," Ethan replied. Uncovering a conspiracy as they rested, Kalara shared details of her past. She spoke of the galactic networks that had traded warrior Amazons, exploiting their strength for profit and entertainment. She described arenas, illegal battles, and corrupt officials who had made fortunes off the blood and skill of warriors like her. Ethan listened, anger and disbelief growing with every word. "We cannot allow this to continue," Ethan said finally. "Not just for you, but for all those who suffer like you once did." Kalara's gaze hardened. "I have lived through it. I have survived, but you think it is possible to challenge such power?" "Yes," Ethan said firmly. "With strategy, allies, and determination, we can make a difference. Freedom is not given. It is taken, protected, and defended. You have the skill, and I have knowledge of strategy and technology. Together we can fight this corruption." Kalara considered him for a long moment, then nodded. "Very well, human. Let us see what can be done. Perhaps destiny is not entirely predetermined after all." Bond of trust that night, Kalara and Ethan sat together in the quiet of the arena, looking out at the stars. The battles, the challenges, and the revelations had drawn them closer. Kalara was no longer just a fierce warrior to Ethan. She was a partner, someone whose trust he had earned, and whose abilities could reshape the galaxy if guided with strategy and honor. "You have changed my perspective," Kalara admitted softly. "I have lived my life in chains, in battle, in expectation. But you offer something new. Not ownership, not domination. Choice," Ethan smiled. "Choice is the most powerful gift anyone can have. And I believe you will use it wisely." Kalara looked at him, a faint smile crossing her features. "Then let us see what comes next. If we are to face the galaxy together, we must be ready for any challenge." And so their bond deepened, forged in trials, battles, and shared understanding. The arena had tested Kalara's skills, yes, but it had also tested her trust, her willingness to accept a human as an equal partner in her journey. And Ethan had proven that courage, respect, and ingenuity could bridge even the widest gaps between worlds. The galaxy awaited them, full of dangers, opportunities, and adventures yet to unfold. Together they were stronger than any individual alone. Together, they were ready to face the challenges that would shape their destiny and the destiny of countless others across the stars. The training arena had tested Kalara's body and mind, but it was only the beginning. Beyond its walls, the galaxy was far harsher, filled with warlords, mercenaries, and corrupt factions who would see her strength exploited for their own gain. For Kalara, freedom was not just a state of being, it was a responsibility. She could no longer fight for herself alone. And with Ethan at her side, she began to understand that destiny was not merely something that happened. It was something forged. The morning after their final simulation, Kalara and Ethan convened in the arena's command center. Holoscreens displayed galactic maps, trade routes, and intelligence reports from various systems. Kalara's amber eyes scanned the data, taking in names of warlords, mercenary groups, and illegal arenas where warriors like her were still trapped. "This is worse than I imagined," Kalara said, her voice steady but tinged with anger. "They do not merely enslave warriors. They sell them, trade them, and pit them against each other for entertainment and profit. And the worst part? Many believe it is justified. That strength should be owned, not respected." Ethan nodded. "It's corrupt, yes. But we have a chance to change it. You are a symbol, Kalara. Your freedom can inspire others, give them hope, and even help topple these networks. But it won't be easy. They will fight back. And they will come prepared." Kalara's gaze hardened. She stood taller, her posture exuding the confidence and authority of a leader. "Then we must prepare, not only for ourselves but for those who cannot fight alone. If we act wisely, we can create something stronger than any one warrior. We can create an army of free warriors." Ethan smiled faintly. "That's the plan. But it will take patience, strategy, and allies who share our vision." Forging alliances, their first step was to seek out potential allies. Kalara and Ethan traveled to remote systems where oppressed warriors had once fought for their lives in illegal arenas. Some were skeptical of outsiders. Others were wary of humans, having seen many betray trust. But Kalara's reputation preceded her. When she appeared, speaking with authority and confidence, and with Ethan supporting her as a strategist and mediator, the reaction changed. One such encounter was on the desert world of Zera 7, where a small group of former arena fighters had taken refuge. Their leader, Lorana, a warrior of unmatched speed and agility, initially challenged Kalara's authority. "You claim freedom, yet you step onto our land without understanding our struggles. Why should we follow you?" Kalara's amber eyes met Lorana's. "Because freedom is not just personal," she said calmly. "It is collective. You survived alone, yes, but together we can protect each other, reclaim our dignity, and challenge those who would see us as tools. We are stronger together than apart." Ethan stepped forward, adding, "I know I am human and I do not belong to your world, but I can offer knowledge, strategy, and resources, and I believe in your cause. You do not have to trust me fully yet, but you can trust our vision." Lorana studied them, her expression unreadable. After a tense moment, she nodded. "Perhaps you are right. If we are to survive, we must act together. We will follow you, for now." Kalara's expression softened slightly. "That is all I ask. Together, we will change the course of our destinies." Training the allies with their initial alliance formed, Kalara took the lead in training the fighters. Ethan set up strategy simulations, mapping potential threats, supply routes, and escape paths. Kalara demonstrated combat techniques, teaching agility, timing, and coordination. They worked tirelessly, often through long nights, combining Ethan's tactical knowledge with Kalara's raw skill. The transformation was profound. Warriors who had once been enslaved and beaten into submission learned to fight not for survival alone, but for freedom, honor, and purpose. Kalara's leadership inspired loyalty. She did not demand obedience, she earned respect. Her presence was a beacon, and with Ethan's guidance, they began to develop a small but formidable force. Even Kalara herself changed. She was no longer only a warrior who survived for herself. She became a leader, a symbol of hope, and someone who could inspire others to rise above oppression. Her confidence grew, not from victory alone, but from the knowledge that she could help others claim their freedom. The first major battle, their preparations were interrupted by an urgent warning. A coalition of mercenaries, tipped off about Kalara's freedom and growing influence, had tracked her to Zera 7. They were well armed, their numbers significant, and their intention clear: capture Kalara and reassert control over the warrior networks. Kalara and Ethan had little time to prepare. The fighters they had trained would have to face real combat for the first time. The group moved quickly, fortifying positions, setting traps, and organizing defenses. Kalara moved among them, offering guidance, encouragement, and the confidence of someone who had faced countless battles. When the mercenaries arrived, the battle was intense. Laser fire streaked across the desert sky, the hum of energy shields filling the air. Kalara moved like a force of nature, her strikes precise, her defense impenetrable. But she did not fight alone. The fighters she had trained worked in coordinated maneuvers, exploiting weaknesses in the attacker's formation. Ethan coordinated from behind the scenes, predicting enemy movements, adjusting defenses, and guiding their strategies in real time. Despite the overwhelming odds, Kalara's forces emerged victorious. The attackers were forced to retreat, leaving behind weapons and equipment. The fighters cheered, a sound of triumph and relief. Kalara stood among them, her posture regal, her presence commanding respect. "You fought well," she said, her voice carrying over the battlefield. "This victory is proof of what we can achieve together. We are stronger than fear, stronger than oppression, and this is only the beginning." Ethan approached, his expression a mixture of pride and relief. "You led them perfectly. You've become more than a warrior, Kalara. You're a true leader." Kalara's amber eyes softened. "And you have helped me see that strength is not only in battle, but in strategy, guidance, and trust. Together we are unstoppable." A symbol of resistance, news of their victory spread quickly. Across the galaxy, oppressed warriors and enslaved fighters began to hear of Kalara's triumph, and the story of the Earthling who had bought her only to free her. Her legend grew, not just as a warrior, but as a symbol of resistance. People began to rally to her cause, inspired by her courage and by the unusual alliance she had formed with Ethan. Kalara realized that her role had changed. She could no longer fight only for herself. She had become a beacon for others, someone whose freedom could ignite hope across star systems. And while the challenges ahead were daunting, she felt ready. Her body, mind, and spirit were stronger than ever, tempered by trials, victories, and the trust she had built with Ethan. preparing for the next phase. In the quiet moments after the battle, Kaylara and Ethan sat together in the command center. The stars outside shimmered like distant fires, reminders of the vastness of the galaxy and the challenges yet to come. "We have won a victory," Ethan said, "but this is just the beginning. The networks we face are powerful. They will not give up easily," Kaylara nodded. "I know, but we have strength, allies, and knowledge now. And we have hope. That is more powerful than fear, more powerful than any army." Ethan smiled. "Then we move forward. Step by step we change the galaxy, not just for us but for everyone who has been oppressed." Kaylara looked at him, a faint smile crossing her features. "Yes. And together we will show that destiny can be changed, that freedom is worth fighting for, and that courage is not limited to a single species. Humanity has potential I did not expect." Ethan chuckled softly. "You're learning to be complimentary now." "Perhaps," Kaylara said, her amber eyes glinting with humor. "But do not let it distract you. We have work to do." And with that, they turned their attention to the stars, planning their next move. Their journey had transformed them both. Kaylara had evolved from a legendary warrior into a leader and symbol of hope. Ethan had grown from an observer into a strategist and ally, proving that courage, ingenuity, and respect could change even the harshest destinies. The galaxy awaited them, full of danger, intrigue, and opportunity. But together they were ready. Their alliance was unbreakable, their purpose clear, and their vision bold. A future where freedom, honor, and strength were not commodities to be sold, but ideals to be defended. The galaxy had shifted in ways few could have predicted. Kaylara, once a warrior chained and sold as property, now led a coalition of free fighters. Her name whispered in awe and hope across countless star systems. Her alliance with Ethan, the human who had bought her only to set her free, had grown into a bond built on trust, respect, and shared vision. Together they had accomplished what many thought impossible: to inspire freedom and courage in a universe that had long accepted oppression as inevitable. They now stood aboard their flagship, a sturdy vessel retrofitted for both speed and defense. The walls hummed with energy, shields fully charged, and the command center buzzed with reports from scouts and allies. Kaylara surveyed the display of star maps, noting the territories still under control of mercenary coalitions and corrupt factions. Each blinking red indicator represented a system where warriors were enslaved, each one a potential battle for liberation. Ethan approached her, placing a hand on the console. "We've come far," he said, his voice calm yet firm. "But there's still work to do. More systems to reach, more warriors to free, and more networks to dismantle." Kaylara's amber eyes, sharp and confident, swept over the maps. "Yes, and we will reach them. Step by step, system by system. But we must also build a foundation that lasts beyond us. Freedom cannot be temporary. It must be permanent." Ethan nodded, agreed. "That's why we're not just fighting battles. We're creating alliances, establishing safe zones, training leaders who can continue the work even after we move on." Kaylara turned toward him, her expression resolute. "And in this we must lead by example. Strength is not enough. Strategy, empathy, and courage must guide us. The galaxy must see that freedom is worth fighting for, and that those who stand together are unbreakable." A final confrontation, their plans were soon put to the test. Intelligence reports indicated that the most powerful mercenary coalition in the sector had gathered forces, intending to crush Kaylara's growing network of free warriors once and for all. The coalition was vast, heavily armed, and confident in their dominance, but they had underestimated the determination of Kaylara and the ingenuity of her human ally. Ethan convened the council of leaders, the trusted warriors who had joined Kaylara's cause. "They think we are weak because we are scattered," he said, pointing to a holographic map of the coalition's fleet. "They do not understand that we have strategy, mobility, and unity on our side. We will strike in ways they do not expect." Kaylara stood among them, radiating authority. "This is not just a battle for survival," she said, her voice steady and commanding. "It is a battle for dignity, for honor, and for the right of every warrior to choose their path. Fight with precision, fight with courage, and fight for each other. Victory is not measured by numbers alone, but by the heart and skill of those who refuse to be dominated." When the battle began, it was nothing short of spectacular. Ships streaked through space, weaving among asteroid fields and nebulae, as Kaelara's forces struck with timing and coordination that surprised their enemies. Laser fire lit the void, energy shields flaring as they absorbed attacks, and maneuver after maneuver demonstrated the perfect balance of human strategy and Kaelara's combat brilliance. Kaelara herself led the most daring strike, moving with grace and power, disabling the Coalition's flagship while guiding Allied ships around hazards. Ethan remained at the command center, analyzing movements, coordinating defenses, and predicting enemy counterattacks. The synergy between the human and the Amazon warrior was flawless, their combined talents turning what seemed like a hopeless engagement into a calculated, decisive victory. When the last of the enemy vessels fled into the darkness of space, Kaelara's coalition had not only survived, they had triumphed. Cheers erupted across their fleet, but Kaelara remained composed, her eyes fixed on the horizon. "This victory is not ours alone," she said. "It belongs to every warrior who has chosen freedom, to every being who refuses to be oppressed. But the galaxy is vast and our work continues. Establishing a new order, with the Coalition victorious, Kaelara and Ethan focused on consolidating their gains. They established safe zones on strategic planets where freed warriors could train, rest, and build communities. Systems previously under mercenary control were encouraged to form councils, guided by principles of justice, equality, and cooperation. Kaelara personally oversaw the training of new leaders, emphasizing not only combat skills but also ethics, diplomacy, and strategic thinking. Ethan developed systems for communication, resource distribution, and intelligence gathering, ensuring that the Coalition could respond rapidly to threats and maintain unity across vast distances. During a council meeting, a young warrior approached Kaelara, curiosity and respect in her eyes. "You are not just a fighter," she said softly. "You are a symbol. How did you find the courage to lead, even when the galaxy seemed against you?" Kaelara smiled faintly. "Courage is not about facing challenges alone," she said. "It is about trusting those around you, learning from them, and using your strength to protect what is right. And sometimes it begins with believing that freedom is possible, even when others say it is not." Ethan, standing nearby, added, "And ingenuity matters as much as strength. A mind that can see solutions, adapt to challenges, and guide others is just as powerful as any weapon. Humans and warriors alike have potential to shape destinies if they choose to act." The young warrior nodded, inspired. "I understand. We will continue your work and honor the freedom you have won for us." Kaelara's amber eyes glimmered. "Good, then our legacy is secure. Freedom is not just an idea. It is a living, breathing reality we create together." A moment of reflection. After a long day of planning and organizing, Kaelara and Ethan stood on the observation deck of their flagship. The stars stretched endlessly, a reminder of the vast possibilities and challenges that remained. For a moment, they allowed themselves to simply breathe, reflecting on how far they had come. "You've changed the galaxy," Ethan said quietly, looking out at the stars. "You've inspired countless warriors, created alliances, and shown that freedom is more than a dream." Kaelara's gaze was steady. "And you, Ethan, have shown that humans are capable of more than survival alone. You have strategy, insight, and courage. Together, we have achieved what few could imagine." Ethan smiled. "It feels surreal sometimes, but it's real, and it's only the beginning." Kaelara nodded. "Yes, and it will continue long after we are gone. That is the true measure of our legacy." The legend spreads across star systems. Tales of Kaelara and the Earthling who bought her and set her free became legend. Warriors who had been enslaved for generations found hope. Merchants and mercenaries who had thrived on oppression began to see resistance as inevitable. And for every challenge, Kaelara's coalition responded with courage, strategy, and unity, proving that freedom was stronger than fear, and that determination could overcome even the most entrenched systems of control. In the markets, on battlefields, and in quiet towns across planets, parents told their children about the warrior Amazon who refused to be chained, and the human who believed in her. And the message was clear. Strength is not just in muscle, skill, or weaponry. It is in courage, ingenuity, and the will to protect what is just. A shared destiny, Kaelara and Ethan continued to lead side by side. They traveled to new systems, negotiated peace where possible, and defended freedom where it was threatened. Their partnership became a model for collaboration across species, humans, aliens, and warriors of all kinds working together to shape a better future. One evening, as they watched a pair of moons rise over a distant planet, Kalara turned to Ethan. "We have done much," she said, "but I see now that destiny is not given. It is created step by step, choice by choice." Ethan nodded. "And it's never just one person. It's always those who choose to act together, who use their talents and courage to make a difference." Kalara's amber eyes softened with rare warmth. "Then I am grateful for your choice to trust me, to guide me, and to walk beside me. You have forever changed my destiny, and you've changed mine," Ethan replied. "Humans have always wondered what they can achieve beyond their own world. I've seen it here. I've seen that courage, ingenuity, and respect can reshape destinies not just for ourselves, but for countless others across the stars." Together, they looked out at the galaxy, a universe of endless possibility, challenges, and hope. Their journey had begun with a marketplace transaction, an act of courage and morality that had freed a warrior. Now it had grown into a legacy that would inspire generations, proof that freedom, strength, and the human spirit could change the galaxy forever. The beginning of forever. The galaxy was vast, full of stars, planets, and countless lives. But Kalara and Ethan had proven that even in the most difficult circumstances, courage and trust could create miracles. Warriors once enslaved could lead, humans could guide and strategize beyond their homeworld, and destiny could be shaped, not accepted. And as the stars stretched endlessly before them, Kalara and Ethan moved forward, ready for whatever the universe would bring. For they knew this truth. Freedom, unity, and the will to fight for what is right could change everything, and together, they were unstoppable,